Hi friends, it's Sophia and welcome to Sophia's Turning 50. And of course, the first thing I want to say is Happy New Year. If this is your first time watching, this is a place where we celebrate our middle age, especially for those of us that are turning 50 in 2022. Okay, before we go any farther, I'm interrupting my own video to insert an edit. Today is January 3rd and my cousin James is 50 today. So yay 50 and happy birthday, James. I also wanted to say that later on in the video, you're gonna hear screaming and that's my kids. And I guess if I was a professional, I would edit that out, but it's real life, so I'm just gonna leave it in. So don't worry if you hear screams followed by loud laughter afterwards. Don't go running through your own space trying to figure out where all that racket is coming from. It's on this end. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. So today we are going to compare our goals, our New Year's resolutions from age 30 to age 50. I also have a follow-up on health and wellness. I have a short segment for I literally hate you, you're the worst. It's something my kids, something funny about my kids. And then I have a show and tell that is related to the main topic. Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do is compare my list of when I was, I think 28. I said 30 versus 50, but it's more like 28 versus 49, but that just didn't sound as good. So the first thing on my list, let me just read through it and we'll have a commentary afterwards. Face care regimen, juice 1 meal per week, read novels for pleasure, work 8:30 to 6:30, run a half marathon, and complete a triathlon. Now you can see the last two things were quite ambitious. I have nothing even remotely like that on my list this year. Funny, the face care regimen I think is kind of funny because, as you know, I'm vain and about my skin and I get facials frequently and that sort of thing. So there's some consistency there across 20 years. And the juicing, I mean, I think that was a fad then, right? Because I actually remember having a juicer. I think you might have just heard a scream. Those are my kids playing in the other room. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, so I had a juicer. That was the kind of thing where, you know, I had to put in 15 beets to get like this much beet juice. And it made a giant mess everywhere. It was very time consuming and gross. That didn't last that long. I had the juicer for many years and I finally got rid of it. Oh yeah, the half marathon and the triathlon, no, forget it. I hurt my back last fall and I don't know that I'll ever run again because it was so excruciatingly painful to recover from that it feels like it's not even worth it to run anymore. So anyway, so that's it. I had 6 things only. And now, where's my list? Oh, obsessive lists. So it was so funny that I was talking about making my 22 list and it didn't even occur to me that, you know, my obsessive lists were very much related to my 22 list. And so of course, the very first thing I did was get a spot for my list. Now, as you can see, I only have 5 things on it. But what I think is really funny is that the 5th thing on my list in 2001 was to run a half marathon. And the 5th thing on my list this year is rest 22 minutes a day in January. So a little bit different there. And instead of read novels for pleasure, I have read 44 books. And I also want to have a 50th birthday party. Surprise! Yes, of course I want to have a 50th birthday party. And I want to remodel our house or get a bigger one. We'll see how that goes. And then I follow a woman on YouTube called Adrienne, Yoga with Adrienne. And so she does a 30-day yoga journey every January. And so I'm doing that. So I can do yoga every day for 30 days in January. And that usually helps me kickstart. So where I'm doing yoga most of the year. And then usually by October, it's fizzled out, but at least a good portion of the year. And so, yes, so my 2 things towards the end are yoga and rest. And here is half marathon and triathlon. So I've only gotten 5 things so far because I really am trying to take it easy. So, and not and just think about it and let things come to me naturally. So I will probably just, continue to work on that. I just want to keep it easy, and not, if I read 44 books, had a 50th birthday party, and either remodeled or bought a bigger house, I mean, really, that would be a full year that I don't even have room to do anything else in. So I'm not going to push myself by adding in something like tap dancing lessons, unless I really, want to towards the middle or end of the year. Okay, so this is just a quick health and wellness follow-up. I had that ultrasound I was talking about last week, and I got a message. I have a portal through UCLA Health, and that's where I actually just messaged my doctor. They scheduled the appointment for me through there, and I went in and got it, and I haven't even had to see my doctor, which is great. It's just been all messaging back and forth. But of course, the downside of that is they sent me an answer on Friday basically saying, everything's fine. And I'm like, is it? So I just have to, I guess there's no cause for alarm from the ultrasound, but I still need to understand a few things. So I'm just going to put some messages back in the portal on Monday and kind of make sure I get to the bottom of what's going on with me. But as I expected, nothing really to be concerned about. All right, let's move into I Literally Hate You, You're the Worst, which is a segment about my teenage daughters. It's been a while now, a few months ago. Julia did something, and I do not remember what it was, but my response was, "Oh, Julia, how could you?" And I remember as I was saying, "How could you?" I was thinking, "Oh, that I shouldn't have said that." It was like overwrought and dramatic for whatever it was, but I think I was trying not to curse and not to say something mean, and so that's all I could come up with, because I feel like I was so disappointed or distraught or something. And she basically started laughing because it did, like I said, as I was saying it, it felt like overwrought is the only word I can think of. And so, of course, I got angry that she was laughing, but then she told Lily, and now I hear them all the time when they're like pretend fighting or something, or one of them does something to the other one, they go, "Oh, how could you?" It's like one of their new catchphrases is like, oh, Julia, how could you? Oh, Lily, oh, how could you? So that's very aggravating, but I just ignore it. And I think at this point, because I think even they say it to Nathan and he might say it back to them. So I think at this point it's become such a joke. I'm just hoping they forgot the origin of it. Okay, so next up is my show and tell. And this is a 1980 show and tell. This is my first diary. The very first entry is from April 4th, 1980. Here's my printing. It says, Karen Ferguson had a slumber party. I played with a girl named Michelle, very badly misspelled. Me and Michelle could not go to sleep, so we got up and put on makeup. When we went to bed, we still could not sleep, so we started telling jokes. When Michelle went to sleep, it was 2:20, but I went to sleep at 3. So there you go. That, I don't even, what was I, 7 and let's see, I would have been 8 that June, and this was April. So it was 7. And I went through several of these from, the very first one. There's some more writing. Most of them are the details of our t-ball games. And if you recall, a few weeks ago, I showed my t-ball trophy, and it's so hilarious that the first numerous entries were from my t-ball. And this actually goes all the way until, let's see, 1987, which is high school. So there's probably some stuff in there that I don't want to read. Let's see. Oh, and then I have a few more journals. This one is my friend Wyanna made for all of my friends, our friend group, when we were graduating from high school, when we turned 18. So I wrote in this goes from 1990 to 1992, definitely filled with scandal, and will not read it. And then this one starts in 94 and goes through 96. And one of the very last entries, I'm talking about my crush on Nathan and how I told him that I liked him and then he was not interested. So that was February 17th, 1996. So anyway, oh, and one other thing I wanted to show is I have my planners. Look at this 1997 monthly planner. Here's my February. I guess I used it as my obsessive listing and then I marked out what I did. Like, Lord knows what's in here. It might be, you know, kind of Kavanaugh style information, so we're not going to read that either. So that's it. I just wanted to show you a few of my journals. I have a ton of journals. I've been journaling, as you can see, since I was 7. And if you don't journal, I encourage you to do so. You may be middle-aged now. Maybe you're 50, 48, whatever. You're going to live to be 80, 90, 100. So when you're reading, you know, when you're 90, you could read your journal when you're 50. And it's going to be just as silly as me reading my journal when I was 7. It's the same amount of time almost. So you still have plenty of time to journal, and I highly recommend it. Now, I haven't gone through and read all my journals because that would be like a 2-week undertaking. Okay, so these are all my journals. I actually have a few more here too. As you can see, it's quite overfull. I keep it in this box. So that's all we have for today. As we start off this new year, I really just encourage you to celebrate that we've made it into another year. And I encourage you to take up journaling. Above all else, embrace your age, no matter what it is. Have a great week.